What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Restart CBD YouTube channel. My name is Sydney. I'm one of the co-founders, and today we're going over a very basic but necessary concept, and it's how to consume CBD oil. So let's get into it. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Restart CBD, subscribe to the channel, and like this video if you found it helpful. First things first, CBD oil. CBD oil comes in two formulations you're mainly gonna see on the market. One of them is called a full spectrum, the other is called an isolate. There is a third option called broad spectrum, and I will link to another video that kind of explains all of that down in the details below. But today, all we're talking about is how to consume and use CBD oil. So for the demo, I'm gonna be using my full spectrum CBD oil. It's 40 milligrams per mil. If you can tell on the back, it's well used. It's very well loved. I use this practically every single day in various quantities. So we're gonna go over how to use it, best practices, how much to take, and how to get the most out of your consumption. For our bottles, I just wanna point out really quickly on the front that there is a full milligram per mil number right here next to the cannabinoid that says CBD. We also tell you how much is in a mil and also how many total milligrams of CBD is in the entire bottle. So when you do the math, you can take yours at home, whether it's our brand, someone else's brand. This bottle, for example, says 40 next to the CBD cannabinoid at the top. That's 40 per milliliter. In this bottle, there's 30 milliliters is the size bottle, and the full cannabinoid profile, there's 1200 milligrams. So when you take 1200 divided by 30, the total mil, you get that 40 milligram per mil dosage. So talking about the oil, obviously we just went over the dosage. So I obviously encourage you to use your bottle at home and practice the math on there, because that's going to enhance your CBD usage and consumption, knowing how much you are taking when you dose it out. Another quality that I like to point out on our bottles that is very specific to Restart is we do use a calibrated dropper. And what that means is you can see there's a 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and 1 milliliter. So it's really, really easy for you to measure out exactly to the halfway mark, 3/4 mark, whatever you need to be without guessing or counting little droplets of liquid to get the exact amount. Obviously with CBD, there's no psychoactive component. So if you go a little bit above or a little bit below, it's not as big of a deal. But if you are dosing with THC, which all these rules still apply, definitely want to be as precise as possible, because your effectiveness, the way you feel afterwards, is going to make a big impact, at least mentally. CBD, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty, if you want to be very exact, just making sure you're measuring exactly to the tick marks that you want. Again, a full dropper here is 40 milligrams. If I want to just do my quote-unquote daily dose, I typically do 20 milligrams. So I would push out all the liquid until it reaches that 50.5 ml marker point. And you're gonna measure on the bottom of the marker where the bottom of that oil lines up. So if you see in their dropper, it kind of looks like a bottom of a C, or if it's like a half moon shape, you're gonna measure where the bottom of that curve is, and that's where the halfway mark is, rather than measuring the top of the curve where that C shape ends. Another best practice you're gonna see a lot of people use with CBD oil is placing the oil underneath their tongue. And that is because we have our mucous membranes located right underneath the tongue, so it makes for a very quick and easy absorption. Also, you're gonna get the most out of your product by doing that, rather than putting your oil in an edible or a drink form, which are still totally fine, and you can absolutely do that if you don't love the taste of your oils. It is gonna be best practice to place it underneath your tongue, because you have the best absorption there and you're gonna get the most CBD out of that way of consumption. I recommend actually holding it underneath your tongue for about 60 seconds to 2 minutes, but people do tend to do it for about 30 seconds until the oil dissipates, and you go from there. So if I wanted to do it, I would measure up to my 0.5 marker. I would place it underneath my tongue. So you lift your tongue up, place the oil underneath it, and then you kind of hang out and do your thing. You can do this while you're listening to music, while you're petting your dog, while you're cooking breakfast in the morning, whatever you need to do. But once that oil subsides and dissipates, you're good to go. And the CBD will usually kick in within, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how your body metabolizes it, depending on how you respond to it, and depending on how long you've actually been consuming. Some people who are newer to consuming, they don't quite know their dose as well. So if you take too little, you might not feel anything. If you take too much, you'll probably feel its relaxing effects immediately. But again, start small and work your way up in dosage to figure out what is the best for you, what is the best for your situation, whether it's for daytime use, for nighttime use, for all day use. You can microdose, you can heavy dose, whatever it may be. Again, make it yours, but use these best practices when it comes to CBD consumption to make sure you get a consistent response and a consistent effort from your CBD. Last things I want to mention about storing your CBD oil. If you can tell, our CBD is in these amber bottles, and that just helps protect it from the UV light. Another way to protect it would be keeping it in a drawer, out of sunlight, in your bathroom cupboard, whatever you have available and whatever's gonna help you remember to take it. Just make sure it's out of direct sunlight. Even better if your bottle is amber colored like this. So one, you know how much oil is left, you can always reorder, but two, it's not clear. In clear bottles, they tend to make your CBD go rancid a little bit quicker because it deteriorates from the UV light that is getting in there. And even if it's through your bathroom window, even if it's through a bedroom window, there's UV light still hitting it. So again, make sure to store this properly so you get the most, and you don't have to go buy new products, and you can finish the whole bottle without the CBD being ineffective or tasting kind of funky or the oil base going rancid. On that note of the oil base going rancid, something important to note is we also use an MCT coconut oil as the base, which is medium chain triglycerides. It is a coconut oil, so it's really great for your brain health. It's really great for overall energy, but also it has a really, really good shelf life, and it's an antimicrobial. So it actually is going to lengthen that shelf life a little bit more because of the oil base versus something like a hemp oil, which can go rancid a lot quicker. I hope these tips were very helpful today. If you're new to CBD, if you're an OG consumer, please let us know in the comments below how you found us, and thank you for watching. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can shop all of our CBD products and THC products online at Restart CBD, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.